Hi, everyone, and welcome to the webinar. And hello to those of you coming back again that you joined me for the ConvertKit 101 course. I'm going to get started. We're going to go over three main areas. First, automation rules. I'm going to show you where they are, how to set one up, and also how integrations work with those automation rules. And then we're really going to delve more deeply into the sequences. Those are the automated emails that get sent out that you plan, and then based on your rules, they get sent out to your subscribers. How to set one up, how to exclude people from it, how to create filters in it. We're going to go back to, for those of you that were there for a ConvertKit 101, we'll have some familiar things there. We're going to talk about creating custom unsubscribe links from there using automations and tags. And also some great ways to map out sequences for those of you migrating over and bringing something from, an automation from Campaign Monitor or MailChimp or Aweber or whoever your previous provider was, if ConvertKit isn't your first platform. And then I'm just going to show you some examples of my sequences that I have, and also 3 sequences that I feel like all business owners should have set up. So we're going to jump right into it. And like I said, you can drop comments below. I will be pausing every once in a while to check out to see if there's any questions. You also feel free to chat amongst yourselves, but we're going to delve in first into automation rules. So automation rules you can find right here under automations. These are just very simple. If someone does something, I want you to do this. And then the status is it active or is it not? Is it enabled, is it not? It's very simple to set one up. As you can see, the trigger, it says, when this happens, I want you to do this. So for example, there are a lot of integrations with ConvertKit. Now, I'm somebody who has Teachable account and products over in Teachable. So I made sure I already integrated Teachable. So I have a trigger that some of you might not have if you haven't done that integration. I have a trigger that says purchases a product. And then, I can select which thing that they've purchased. Let's say that you purchased my complete guide to ConvertKit. I can choose to subscribe someone to a sequence, unsubscribe somebody, subscribe to a form, unsubscribe from a form, add a tag, or remove a tag. Now, one of the bare minimum things that most people do with their automation rules are adding tags. So for example, I could say just the generic tag of purchase ConvertKit course. That would be me wanting to keep track of everyone in my subscriber list who has purchased this course. And then I would hit save rule. And then that's it. Whenever someone purchases, immediately they'll add this tag. Now, one of the sequences later on is to do a product purchase sequence. So let's say you want them tagged, but you also want to go to a sequence. Same thing. You would save this so that you would have a tag rule. And then you would go and create a new trigger. Same thing, purchases here, but instead of a tag, you'd say subscribe to a sequence, and you would subscribe them to a sequence you already created for something that you've purchased. Now we'll go more into sequences later. I just wanted to introduce you to triggers and to the automation rules. So there's that. I have a couple here. These are just, that's just my jam. That's how I use them. Something that you'll have learned if you were able to attend the first webinar that I just want to go over right now. If you are doing a clicks on the link trigger, you always need to have a destination URL. Now, for you guys, you could set up a generic place on your website, that always sends people to a welcome page, or, thanks for letting us know about your settings, changing your email settings. But if you have the time, always create a custom page. If you don't have the time, at least have a good page that people can get referred to. Because if you're going to send an email out, let's say, hey, I want to know more about you, click on this link. Let's say, click on this link if you want to know more about the course. They still need to have a destination URL. You can't leave those blank. Now, in this case, if it's know more about the course, it might say, course here. And I'd probably be subscribing them to a sequence about a course. That's just how it works. But I want to remind people, you need to have these pages set up in advance. Like if you're going to set up an automation rule, don't rush into it thinking it's going to take 2 seconds. It does only take 2 seconds to do this, but you need to have a destination URL if it's triggered by a link. So that is just the quick rundown on automation rules. I know that was super quick, but we went into it a little more in depth in the previous webinar. So I don't want to spend too much time on this because it's also going to be brought up in sequences. And so I am going to quick run back into the chat to double check to see if anyone else had questions. Okay, excellent. Looks like everyone is pretty cool with that quick rundown of rules. So let's go back into ConvertKit and let's tackle what we really came here for, which are sequences. Now, what I said earlier, sequences are those automated emails. You add people to sequences through automation rules. That's the #1 way you get people onto a sequence. It can go as long as you want, and it can have as many emails as you want. If you notice, I have one that goes over 130 days. I also have one that only goes over 13 days or 1 day. So you can have it be as long or as short as you want it to be. When you create a sequence, one of the things is if you are migrating over and you have a lot of automation emails, and let's say you're going to map out the customer journey so that they'll go into one sequence, and then depending on what link they click, they'll go into another. You'll want to have a naming convention after the name. So for example, if I name this sequence test A, and I create another sequence that depending on what their link is, they will, they'll move into another sequence. I would name that second sequence A1. And then if there's another link option, A2. And the reason I want you to think about naming conventions, now I don't have them here because I don't have a big list, but I recently helped someone port over 20 sequences into ConvertKit that were very complicated. This is all you get. You get a list here, and you would have to remember that, oh, once they go through this sequence, if they click a link, they can go into this sequence. Well, in that case, I would want to name this new subscriber, (1), design best practices, (1A). So that way, when I look at this list, I'll be able to know, oh, okay, so people got onto design best practices through the new subscriber. That way you can keep track of how everything is connected. So that's just one of your heads up there. So let's go back in. We'll just name this. We'll create this sequence. Now it's going to preload a sales funnel for you. That's one of the nice things that ConvertKit will do. It'll say, this is the day you introduce your content, a day later, educate them a little bit, educate them and tell them a little bit about the product. You do a soft sell, educate them, hard sell, education message, soft sell. Now, you don't have to follow this, but it's really nice that ConvertKit lays it out for you if you're new to this. Also, you do not have to stay by the day or 1 day time period. You could have this be 1 day. If you're worried about emailing someone too frequently, I'd recommend to have a 2 to 3 day break between them. So if they would get an email on a Monday, their next email wouldn't be until Wednesday. That would just give them some time to read Monday's email if they wanted to. And then by Wednesday, the problem is sometimes if you do it back to back, you don't want to have like, they might feel a little bit spammy if they see 2 unread messages from you in just 24 hours, and they might feel overwhelmed. However, when if you're on a deadline, you need to send these out, 1 day is fine. But I was going to say, you can always change this. This can go out hours later. So for example, if you are on a time crunch, or you're going to do a webinar sequence that reminds people when webinars are going to happen, you could say, this happens 1 day after they subscribe, you know, and then this could happen 3 hours later. Hey, remember, there's a webinar. However many you want to do. There's also no limit. Like you saw earlier, you could have 90 days. It'll still work. You can put as many days as you want. If you're worried about send times, like you're thinking, you know, no one's really going to get around to reading my email on a Friday, it will send after 3 days. But if it's a Friday, it'll send on the Saturday. It'll just skip over that day. So you can also choose, or if you never want to send emails on the weekend, you can exclude those. This is very easy to use. If you've used MailChimp before, this will be very similar. Now, what is a little bit new for you guys is filtering. And I'm going to go a little bit more into this later. But one of the beautiful parts is filtering. You can exclude people from individual emails. All you have to do is filter them. Perhaps you have sequences that they're already in. You don't want them to get this email. Or if this is a pitch email, you could say, hey, they can be in this sequence, but do you know what? They don't need to be pitched on this because they've already purchased this product. They can skip this email. So if I were to add this filter, then what would happen is that someone subscribed to this that has purchased a course would get day 1, skip, and it doesn't leave 4 days in between. It'll just say, this should happen 1 day after they sign up. This should happen 1 day after the previous email. So it will seamlessly move down through the line, and it won't leave a gap there. And this is the great part about filtering. Like I said, you can filter based on tags, filter based on forums. So for example, if someone subscribed to an opt-in through one of your forums, so exclude people who have subscribed to, you know, one of my opt-in forums, because they don't need to know about it because, you know, they've already learned about ConvertKit templates. So I would make sure that they don't get this educational message because they already know about it. They've already got that opt-in. They don't need to get a reminder to re-download it. So filtering is amazing. You guys definitely need to be using it. And then one more thing that I wanted to show you, yep, we can leave, is settings. You can change out, again, where the emails are. If you have, yeah, I have a lot of templates because I'm designing them. If you have a different template you want to use, you can select it here. The reason you might have a different template is you've swapped out the header image, or maybe text on the bottom, or there's a completely different branded design, because you might want to have the sequence have its own branding. For example, if you created a sequence not as a like a welcome series or thank you for purchasing my product, if you created a sequence as, you know, my 5-day email course on how to get more clients, you might want to have a different header than your regular emails. You know, that's something about the 5-day course for clients. This is where you would change your templates. Also, if there's anyone you want to exclude from all of the emails, not just filtering, but all of them, this is where you would pick from. It could be tags, It could be, hey, if someone's already done this other sequence, don't put them in this sequence. Or, hey, if someone's already been, already signed up through this form, don't add them here. Or if they're in one of your segments, don't add them. So this is a great way to say, this is a great way to make sure you're never accidentally sending double information to somebody. If you have a lot of sequences that are very similar, and you have a lot of forms that sign people up for sequences, you'll want to make sure that no one is, getting 3 emails from 3 different sequences in a day from you. You'll want to make sure that you exclude them and you just pick the one sequence you really want them to go through. Okay, so that's the gist of the sequences. And like I said, if you have questions along the way, I want you to go ahead and drop them in the chat, and I'll be in and out of the chat to make sure that I'm getting to all of those questions. Last here is reports. Now you're not gonna see anything here, but for those that want to know, okay, how many emails have been sent? Has anyone unsubscribed? Okay. How did my click rates go? This is really great if you're looking for your sell days. You want to see a higher click rate. You want to see people going to check out that product page. If you want to know if there are any unsubscribers, you can always check them here or download CSV. So this is great. Go over into reports to see how your sequence is going. If you see a lot of unsubscribes on a particular day, you might want to change how quickly they get that message or that message in total. You do what will feel right in that sequence. All right. So I showed you how to set one up. I showed you how to exclude people from the entire sequence. I showed you how to just filter people so they can skip 1 or 2 emails. One of the things that I wanted to do is go in to show you how to create custom unsubscribe links. So I'm going to, this is where we're going back to automations. To create a custom unsubscribe link from a sequence, you would set up an automation rule. So I already have one set up. And sorry, I'm just going down here. Let's see. Here's an example of one. There should be a, hold on. There it is. That's what I want. If they click a link, it'll unsubscribe them from a sequence. So right now, if there's a link in all of my new subscriber sequence, in every single email, I give them the option to say, hey, if you're not interested in, getting emails to get to know more about me, but you want to stay on my list, click this link. So what happens is, as soon as they click that link, and I just named it No Welcome, it'll send them to my email page that says, basically, hey, thanks for letting me know about your email preferences. We take this seriously and we're gonna make that change for you. But what happens is they're gonna click that link. It's gonna take them out of that sequence. So they won't get any more new welcome emails from me. And it's really useful, I think, to let them choose to say, I don't want to unsubscribe from everything from you. I'm just not interested in this sequence, however they chose to get on there. In this case, a new subscriber is anyone that hasn't been, added to my subscriber list and joins any form will get added to my new subscriber list. And then if they're like, you know what, I liked your download, I'm willing to get your newsletter, but I'm not interested in, this new subscriber sequence, they can opt out of it. And how you add that, let me go into my sequences. And I will just show you what this looks like. I just want to make sure that I get, okay, perfect. So what you're seeing here is that email. And I'm saying, hey, welcome to the list. I'm so glad that you're here. And I say, don't want to get these welcome emails, click here. And so what that is, and I have all of this in all of my emails that they'll get. So when you're setting up an action or a trigger link, what you do is, let me just highlight something else to show you. You want to insert a link, and instead of copy and pasting a URL, you choose from your list of trigger links. So this is why naming is important, because you need to figure out what's it's going to be. You know, welcome series opt-out, and then that's it. And then suddenly there's a link there that they can click that I have set up in my settings. Hold on. That, you know, if they clicked no welcome, then they shouldn't be in this list. So they will be opted out. That's an extra step. I said exclude subscribers from this sequence. Honestly, the automation rule covers it. So let me go back into that automation rule, which is why you don't see anyone subscribe to it. Because this rule will automatically unsubscribe them from a sequence. But I always want to be, this is just me being extra careful. I always want to make sure that they could never ever somehow get back onto that list, which is why in my settings, I have that example of, hey, yeah, make sure that no one with this tag can get on this email list. So that's it. That is how you add people. That's how you make sure the right people get into this. I'm going to go back into the automations. I think some of you will have questions how to get someone onto a sequence. So for example, I have a bunch of here, if you see, subscribes to a form, go to my sequence. Let's open this up. I say, when someone subscribes to this form, so when someone goes into my opt-in, I want you to subscribe them to the new subscriber sequence. Now, it won't ever resubscribe somebody who's gone through it. So if they've already gone through another form, they will get subscribed to the new subscriber, but it won't send them an email if they've already been subscribed to it. So you don't have to worry about like somebody getting a new opt-in and then they're like, what, I'm in this new subscriber sequence again. That will, I'll handle it. And you can always see the history of the rule to see how that works down below, when it's been triggered, how it works. But this is generally how you do it through automation rules. There's another way. So give me a quick second. Let me go to forms. There is another way to add people to sequences. So it'd be any form, could be a landing page, could be a pop-up. Give subscribers an option to opt into a sequence. However, when you do this, it doesn't automatically add them to a sequence. It gives them the option to. If you want to automatically add them, don't make that extra step. You have to go into automations and you have to set it up. You have to say, as soon as they subscribe to a form, subscribe to a sequence. So for example, if you have a special opt-in form that talks about, in my example, let's say that I have an opt-in form for the best ways to optimize your website. Let's say if they downloaded that form, I automatically wanted them to go onto a sequence that has more web design tips. I don't want to have that middle step that gives them the option to sign up. You can if you want to, but I feel like many people wouldn't go for that, where I would much rather have them go into a really nice sequence that teaches them more, that follows up on that opt-in that you gave them. So those are the ways that you add people. Remember, automation rules, you add people to sequences. Automation rules have integrations in them too. There are a ton of integrations. All you have to do is type into Google ConvertKit integration and then enter the name of the service you use. And I guarantee you there's a really quick and easy way to integrate so that you will have more automations to say, you know, someone purchased this off of my site, you know, have this integration you can integrate in with. like PayPal. If you have Teachable, that's really easy. If you have other services like third-party services, maybe like SumoMe, all of that can be handled. It's going to work really well. All right, we're going to take a quick breather. I'm going to check back in to the chat again, just to make sure that no one else had some questions. We did have one question, is that permanent? Can they be added later if they change their mind? Can you tell me, what are you wondering about the permanent? Is that the unsubscribe that you're wondering about? Because if it is about the unsubscribe, like that link, it's a permanent opt-out. So for example, unsubscribing. Yes, it's permanent. They can't change their mind. You can change their place in ConvertKit. So for example, the custom unsubscribe that I made that basically said, you know, hey, that's cool if you don't want to be in this sequence, but if you still want to get my newsletters, just click here. That was an automation rule that unsubscribed them from that sequence. That automation rule right there, they could re-opt in. Well, not the new subscriber, because that's just for new people. But like, let's say you had a email course and someone was like, I don't want to be in this email course. And they click an automation rule. Here, let me go back in and show you my automation rules that I'm already in. Okay, unsubscribe. Okay. So in this case, this unsubscribes them from my welcome series. Let's say that this is not a welcome series, but instead like, you know, a five email long course about something. They could opt out. This will say unsubscribe for the sequence. It does not bar them from the sequence though. So let's say someone signed up for an opt-in and you had them added to a sequence that was going to be a 5-day sequence on something. And then they're like, no thanks. They click the link, they're taken out of that sequence. However, if they ever sign up again, they can. It is not a permanent bar from them. If you want it to be permanent, you would have to do that in the sequence itself. Like if you want to make sure if someone hits unsubscribe, they never get in, you'd have to do exclude subscribers from the sequence. However, if it's just unsubscribe, someone could always resubscribe into that sequence. So to answer your question about, is it permanent? It is only permanent if you do exclude subscribers, and that is in the settings area. If it's just one of the automation links that you created to let them opt out of that, it unsubscribes them, but it doesn't bar them from it. So they could always choose to go back in, or you know, your automation could always choose to put them back in. So it's not permanent, like I said, but if for some reason you want them to, you'd have to do that within the sequence settings. Okay. Let's see. I want to make sure if we have any other questions. All right, that's good. Now I just want to go into some example sequences. So I'm going to, oh, let me make sure I just heard someone else in the chat. All right, great. Let's go into example sequences. These are 3 that I recommend that everyone have. And then I'm going to go into one of mine. So you're getting a little sneak peek into the complete guide to ConvertKit. This is just a course that I'm putting together. So along with, you know, the webinar that happened earlier in February, I put a bunch of other training and everything that someone would need to know. This will also go into here, and then we'll have some other places. And we'll have some more information. So this is what it looks like. And it's on sale super cheap until the end of February. Once these all are live, the price doubles. So that's just an FYI for you guys. But the number one thing everyone should have, you should have a welcome sequence. So that's a sequence for people who are new to your lists. You want to set these up with all of your forms. You probably saw this a little bit earlier when you were looking at my ConvertKit. I had all of these: subscribe to a form, subscribe to a sequence. I had all of those set up. It's pretty easy. Your automation rules, so subscribe to form, then they're subscribed to your welcome sequence. You should have emails introducing them to who you are. You should talk about what's your why, which is, why are you helping these people? Why are you creating these products? You'll want to just explain that. Also, because it's the welcome sequence, it's really great to send mini excerpts of your most popular blog posts. So I want you to go and see what your most commented or most shared or highest viewed posts are and put them into this sequence. So for example, you'll either put an excerpt, like the first few paragraphs, or my favorite way of doing it, instead of excerpts, I like to quick summarize it and then have a button that says, if you want to learn more about this, check out this blog post. And you can send, 1, 2, 3, 4, however many of your most popular blog posts to them, because if they're brand new, then they probably haven't taken the time to go through your blog post archive. And we're basically sending them the greatest hits. And it will be new to them, so don't feel like, oh, they might have already read this. No, they probably haven't. And they probably won't take the time to go and find them. So it's really great for you to show them what you're doing, what your best blog posts are, and sending them there. Also, in your welcome series, you want to be able to educate them on products you sell. So if you are selling products, whether that's custom logo design in Etsy, or you are making these really cute handmade tea bowls that you sell out through your own shop on your website, or maybe it's a service that you sell, you do coaching, or you're a VA, educate them a little bit about what you do. If you want to drop prices in there, you can, but at the very least, help them know who you are, because they might have just found your one blog post and loved your one opt-in, and they're not going to take the time to go back to your website. It's your responsibility to make sure that they go back. So that's what you're going to put in that welcome series. Like I said earlier, you can space it out as much as you want. If you want it to go day after day, hour after hour, or if you want 2-3 days gap, ConvertKit can handle it all. There's also no limit. You could send 1 email, you could send 14 emails. It's whatever you feel comfortable with. So if you have a product, and I don't care if it is a physical product or a digital product, you must have a purchased my product sequence. This sequence is for people who just purchased your product. Like I said, ConvertKit integrates with many platforms. It's very easy to automate. In this sequence, you want to thank them for the purchase. You also want to take some time to educate them on the product. If they stumbled across it, and you want to give them a little bit of background or remind them, hey, this is how you log in. This course is expected to take 15 days. Give them that friendly reminder. Also introduce yourself. And if you have any similar products, like sister products, if you have a similar course or something, you could send something out, maybe 30 days out after they join, saying, hey, you should, have wrapped up this course. If you're really interested in learning more about this, I have this course on this. Like, go ahead and educate people on your other products. But like I said, if you're going to give them a soft sell on a product, make sure you do that soft sell after they've probably completed the first product. The other reason you need to have this is because this will, especially if it's a digital thing, this will increase the likelihood that they will go through your product or go through your course if if it's a lower cost item, and I mean like less than $300, there will be people that may sign up and then never complete your course. You know, they get busy with life or they forget that they even paid for this. If you have a sequence going on, they won't be able to forget you. Or if you have a physical product, you know, their joy is when they open that, when it comes in the mail. But if you have an email series going to them as well, you know, that gets them to remember, oh yeah, this is you who gave me this great thing. I have great feelings towards you because I really like this product. Oh great, you do more of these things. That would be really great as a gift. So you need to keep educating them after you've made a sale. So you need to have a purchase product sequence. And like I said, it could even just be one email. I have just one email right now set up for my purchasing my web design course. It's a 3-week-long course that gives you a crash course on HTML and CSS that's behind WordPress and Squarespace. Just so you don't have to hire web designers, you can do some stuff yourself. That one is a drip course, so that you're already getting emails. So I felt like I didn't need a sequence, but I still wanted to send one automated email that said, thank you for this course. I'm so excited. This is who I am. You can contact me if you have any questions. Oh, and by the way, here's tons of links to all of my resources. I can even show you that. One sequence. So like I said, it's just one email. And, you know, I'm just saying, hey, you know, they're here. They're interested in design and web design. So I'm saying, hey, check out all of these resources. Some of them are blog posts. Some of them are my favorite things to use as a web designer. Here's some tutorials. This is really useful. If they're super new, there are some people who do sign up for my course that they don't know how to set up pages or categories in WordPress. And so I need them to just get a little bit further ahead, and this will help them with that. So yeah, you can even just send out one email, but you need to send out that email. And I have it delayed, so what happens is if they purchase the course on Teachable, 4 hours later, they get this email from me. Okay, so that's the product. Last, choose your own learning adventure sequence. Now I know a lot of you have been seeing these pop up. I've been seeing them pop up in my inbox. What it is someone will send an email and they'll say, hey, I want to get to know more about you. Can you tell me who you are? And it'll have 3 options in it. So an example of that, actually, I don't need to go there. It will look like this. So here's an example. Hey everyone, I love talking with you about making your biz dreams come true. I'd love to know a bit more about you, where you're in your business. Just click the link below that best describes you. You know, I'm gonna just start my business. You know, I just started, but I need help with my brand, or I have a business, but I'm really looking to learn more about effective processes. So the idea is when someone clicks on this link, an automation rule is triggered. It adds them to a tag. So for example, if Taylor would click on the middle link, the tag brand building would be added. If Manisha clicks on the last link, the tag process would be added. But in this way, with sequences, you could go further. You could do tags and you could do sequences. So if you have this set up, you can send out an email saying, hey, I want to get to know more about you. You know, you could talk, you're wondering, okay, what stage are they in their business? What stage are they in? Do they want to learn more about hand lettering? Do they want to learn more about how to make their own coloring book? You know, whatever your service is or whatever your company is about, you could have these options, and then you'd be able to send them emails based on what they want to know. So an example, let me go into my automation rules. I sent one out like that. Seems like ages ago now. Let's see. I was just trying to see if I could find it. Oh, I bet I already turned those off because that email has passed. So what I did is I sent an email out into, and I had a rule that basically said, when you click this link, I'll get rid of links after a while if I'm not using them anymore. You know, web design. Of course, you have to have that custom page there. And then I had a tag, and I tagged them here. I've now turned those into segments because I've already moved past it. So let's say I had that option. You know, I'm thinking more about starting my business. You could say, starting business. Here is, if you have the time, this is where you'd want to send them to a custom thank you page that says, oh, great, I'm glad you're want to learn more about your business. I'm going to start sending you some great stuff about that. But in the meanwhile, check out these blog posts about starting your business. Then you can say, subscribe them to a sequence, and you'd select a sequence, you know, that would say, you know, starting your business. Or in my case, I had one a while back that was 13 days to a better website. And so if they wanted to learn more about basic website maintenance, in my email, that looked just like this. If they were like, I'm looking more for like SEO, website maintenance, I don't need to know about design, I just want to be able to run my website well, you know, they went to that page, I gave them some information there, and then they're subscribed to a sequence for their website. So that is how sequences work. Now you can use sequences also to save time in more unique ways. Like I said, you can choose to have sequences go out just once. So just like my purchase sequence goes out just once. It's just my way automatically to welcome people to the course. Teachable will do the rest. There's drip emails all set up in there. But it welcomes them to the course. It tells them more about who I am and the resources I have. And I don't have to like export from Teachable, import here, and then tag them, and then create an email from a tag. This automatically happens. It's fantastic. It's easy. I also have something, if you have clients, this is my little secret. And so some of my clients are in here, so now you'll know. If you need to regularly send check-in emails, schedule them. Don't send them yourself. So if you're in a service-based industry like myself, after you finish a project with someone, you want to keep in touch with them. And so what you might be doing is you might just be sending a bunch of calendar invites, trying to figure out when to send follow-up emails. You don't need to do that. You can do all of the follow-up emails here. I have 20 days after a website project has launched. I want to check in, make sure everything's going well. 20 days after that, I want to check in again. I tell them, hey, you should see if I'm, new stuff I'm offering, Instagram, Twitter. I hope everything's going well. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to help you. And then 90 days after that, so like I said, this covers 130 days. Like I'm just asking, how's everything going? Let me know if I can help. And, check it out. I'm probably offering something new. You should come see what it is. Use these to your advantage. So if you need to be sending up any reminders to anybody, like totally set them up and save time through ConvertKit, through sequences. So like I said, these are just check-in emails that I did. You might have follow-up surveys that you need to email. Great, send them out through ConvertKit. Don't set reminders, send them out through here. And for those wondering about clients, not all of my clients are subscribers. So my clients get a tag when I add them here, and I make sure when I send out broadcasts, so I make sure when I send out broadcasts, so that, all subscribers, that's my newsletter list. I just make sure some of my past clients are not subscribed to the list. But I have them in here because I want them subscribed to that sequence. I just make sure to not email them, obviously. They have a tag, past client, do not email. That's it. And I can always delete that tag if they do subscribe to my list, but that's just a simple way I've gotten to make sure that they don't get my emails for my newsletters if they don't want them. That way they can just get the sequences I want them to get. So those are the sequences. Now, there have been some pretty complicated sequences I've done before. And if you guys have questions, now is the time to drop them in the chat, and I will attempt to show you, how to have those work. I want to show you real quick an example of mapping out sequences. That'll be the last thing that I show you guys today. So this is, I was trying to help someone. This is one of my clients, one of many sequences. So here's how it goes. There's an opt-in. They go to the thank you page after the download. They'll go into nurture sequence, which is her terminology for a welcome sequence. We talked about some of the emails they put in there. That would be 2 to 4 emails long. And then they would have automation triggers. Hey, I want to know more about clear energy, or I want to learn more about manifesting. So from this sequence, nurture sequence 1, they would be subscribed into the next sequence, 1A or 1B. And if they've already purchased a product, I make sure that in that middle email, it's filtered by if they've purchased. So if there's a sales pitch, you want to filter out that they have, if someone's already purchased that product, the day you have a sales pitch, don't have a sales pitch email there. And then, a follow-up email after that. Same thing here. If they've purchased, don't let them get that email, and then they're done. And this is 1B. So when she will look at our huge list, and however she names them, she'll know that, okay, this says 1A. That means someone got onto this sequence because they were in sequence 1 first. So this is just a quick way of mapping. And one other filtering trick that I want to show you, I thought I'd be done showing you, but now that I was just thinking, I didn't write that down on my to-do, but I think it's going to be a good, just a good reminder to you guys about what we can do. There's another trick to filtering that I think you guys should not forget when you're building out your sequences. So if you remember, in a sequence, you can filter, right? I said, hey, let's say week 3 is about a pitch. You want to filter, you want to make sure that people who've purchased this, doesn't get this pitch. Okay, that's fine. But what if you still want them to get an email about that product, but just thanking them for getting it? You would add an email that would still go out 6 days later. And let's see, the filter's on. The link's not going. Hold on, let me just add this. And instead, I would say match none of the following. So this one, I just said, hey, if someone's purchased, they shouldn't get week 3. Well, you could create an alternate week 3. So you could have week 3A, week 3B, and you could say none of the following, course purchase. Oh, sorry, match any of the following, course purchase. Nope. This way, you can also send a separate message to other people. Anyway, sorry. That's just fun. Have fun with filtering. So, Sorry that this one, weirdly, the filtering wasn't working. And let me leave this so I don't have that filtering saved. But have fun with filtering because you can choose to send, like week 3A could go to people who haven't purchased your course. And then week 3B could go to be people who've purchased a different course or a different tag. You could make your stuff even more customized than that. And for you, you would name it week 1, week 3, but you could choose to, you know, just like there were sequences, 1A, 1B, you could also start using filters. They would all go out at the same time, but you could have 4 different versions of week 3 that go out to different types of people on your list, depending on their tags. So that's fun. And that's something I want you guys to consider when you're building these. All right, I'm just gonna jump back into the chat. Where do you house your welcome or thank you pages? You do that on your own website. So you need to have a website already set up. You create them yourself. So when you are in, you know, WordPress, Squarespace, Wix, whatever you use, you're going to create a page that they go to. So for example, I'll go back to screen sharing in a bit when this page loads up. This is a generic one I have set up on my website. We noted your email preferences and made the change. We're furiously at work to make sure you love all the emails you get. And then there's a really fun gift there. So you are creating all of these yourself and you host them wherever you want. Like mine is pretty simple, sarahakers.com/email. For my customized ones, I had a different URL that said, hey, I'm so glad you want to learn more about web design. You know, here are more resources for web design. So you have to create all of those yourself. You put them up on your own website, and that is just how that works. Amanda says, how are you making sure that you don't mistakenly exclude past clients who've signed up for your other lists? Well, that's the thing. For me, I have to manually check to see if they've signed up for forms. So Amanda, if you go into the past clients, and then you can see the whole history of anyone with that email address. So, and first off, they're only getting excluded from my broadcasts. So if they would sign up for a sequence, they're not excluded from that sequence, even if it said past client, do not email. So basically, before I send a broadcast, I go into my past clients. There's not that many past clients that don't want that I don't want to email. I go through and I see if they have any history. You know, if I see that they signed up for a form, I remove that tag from them, and then voila, they're suddenly, you know, just a past client, because they have both tags, past client and past client who don't want emails. So that's how I handle that. That does take manual time. That's just how I make that work, because it really saves me that follow-up time. It's really quite priceless. It saves myself from putting a bunch of calendar stuff. I don't put it on my regular template. I send it as a plain text email, so it comes from my email address. So I have people respond with questions. It's really great because in 90 days, they might have, well, actually at the end, in 130 days, they might have forgotten that, you know, we even worked together, or they might say, hey, I'm so glad that we did this. I also want help with, and they might have a new project coming down the line that they want my help with. So yes, that's how I have to manually handle those. So we are coming up on an hour. If you guys have other questions, you can always reach me through the website or at sarah@sarahakers.com. This week, for those of you who have already purchased the course, by the end of the day, this will be in the course along with the other stuff that I put in there today for the complete guide to ConvertKit. And for those of you joining me at the end of the month to learn about coding your templates, it's pretty exciting. You'll be getting a special email a few days in advance just to give you a heads up about if you are too new to HTML and CSS, the course might be just a little bit too hard for you, but this is for people who have some web design skills, or especially if you've already gone through my HTML and CSS course, they can handle that no problem, and then they can start building their own custom templates for ConvertKit. So that's it for today. I hope you guys learned a lot, and like I said, if you have questions, always feel free to ask me.